score 13 points in the fourth quarter. I think it's a 39-8 run for you guys to close it. Just what'd you like about that zone defensively that you guys kind of mixed up the rhythm for them?
Well, it just slowed them down. It got them moving around. I thought we put pressure on the ball, bring the ball up the floor, then falling back in the zone. Zone's an amazing thing. If you get a couple of stops, then the third and the fourth, it starts becoming a little mental. It really does. And we planned that. We didn't know we were going to do that. But, we looked at the numbers and we felt like this is a team we can zone a little bit with some of the lineups they have on the floor. And listen, they missed some shots, but we created a lot of turnovers. We rebounded the ball. And more importantly, what it created was stops so we can get out running. Because we didn't do that all game because they were scoring every time. So, heck of a win. It really is. When you have 4 guys on the bench with 1 starter, that's what you play your last 8 minutes of the game with. It's pretty impressive from our guys.
You typically don't think of like pressure in a zone. What is it about Scoot and Gary up top that can kind of turn it into that?
They both have great hands. Gary got his hands on a couple. Scoot got, I think, 5 steals in that one little stretch. They're both quick. The zone is, your body's one place, but you're actually guarding someone else in the other place. And I thought they did a great job of that.
Just Giannis' ability to play with the pass again. You mentioned him playing with 4 bench guys. It's kind of all around him offensively.
It was great. And again, the misses allow Giannis to get out in transition and make plays. And his trust, guys, I'm just telling you, one of the bigger plays of the game, he gave the ball to Scoot to run a pick and roll with him and Bobby, and he just slid over to the side. He's empowering his teammates, and it's beautiful to see.
What kind of lift did Bobby's return give them?
Oh, it was great. The crowd, by the way, was phenomenal. I think they were fired up because Bobby was here. They hadn't seen him in a while. Listen, I thought Bobby would foul out in like 3 minutes tonight. For him to come out and play the game that he played, have composure, it was so funny when the Rudy and Scoot thing got, Bobby runs over to me and said, "Coach, we got to calm Scoot down." When I heard that, I knew we were in a good place. So that's new.
What'd you think when AJ pulled up for that logo 3?
Love it. We tell him to jack him, like all of our guys. TP missed 2, I think, in the first quarter, and came back out to him, and he drove. And I yelled at him after that. I said, "Take the third." That's what we do. We're great shooters. Shoot them. AJ, GT, Brooke, Bobby, we want them firing them up there. It's good for us.
You mentioned the crowd. Just how instrumental were they in this win?
It was huge. They could have left. I mean, really, the way the game was going, and they hung in there with us, and then they could smell the blood in the water as well. And so this is why you love being at home, man. Like, it's these are the nights, they in some ways gave us a ton of energy that we didn't have. This is why you love home games.
And then obviously you've seen some big games, big moments in the NBA. And this was a huge game for Bobby Portis and his return. Can you just talk about how special this one was for your team as a whole? Yeah,
it's huge for us because we're still trying to chase, stay in front, or whatever we're trying to do in the playoff thing. It was a playoff atmosphere game for them as well. So that was just that's why the game is so meaningful.
I think you guys have 70 points with like 2 minutes into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I guess just the difference between those first 3 quarters and then that fourth quarter, was it just the pace?
It was the pace. We were getting stops. They scored every time down for 3 quarters. I think we call them kills. I think we had 2 kills for the game. That means in a row. You're not getting a lot of rhythm if every other play they score. Then we had a stretch. We had 7. Then we had a 5. Then we had a 6 in the fourth. And all those means we get out and run. So it's good. I love our guys. You can hear them counting them on the bench. That's 6. That's 7. So we're aware of it. But the count was short all game until the fourth quarter.
Back to the trust thing you said with Giannis. I mean, on any given night, he is the best player on the court.
Yeah.
But how does that trust play into maybe his dominance and what you need him to do overall? Because obviously, if you wanted to put up 22 shots or 20, that probably could be done.
Yeah, it can
right?
be done, but I don't know if you win that way. Like what Giannis is doing is playing winning basketball. He saw who was guarding Bobby, and that's why he threw it to Scoot, and he told them empty side pick and roll, which was what we basically ran down the stretch. And that's just, first of all, great knowledge, and secondly, great trust to allow those two to play in an action and him get off the ball. So it's great on Giannis. Part of it works because they're still loaded to Giannis. No matter where he's at, they're still worried about him. That's why when Scoot drove, there was no one there. They're still worried about Scoot. I mean, they're worried about Bobby popping, and they're worried about Giannis out on the perimeter. And that's just great trust.
So how do you, when you look at something, and I know that's kind of one individual play, but it's been without Dame for a bit.
Yeah.
So when you look forward, because it is about forward in the next week or two,
Yeah.
what does that mean for you and this team trying to get to where you want to get to when that's how he's playing and how he is trusting that?
Well, it's tough for anyone else not to trust each other if your best player is doing it. It's tough for anyone else not to make the next pass if that's what your best player is doing. So a lot of his leadership is by action. He didn't have to say a word. It's what he's doing is telling everybody the right way to play. Thanks, guys.